Welcome back to the Self-Love Archives podcast. I'm your host, Julia Salvia, and if you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your new bestie, your self-love guide, the big sister that you have always needed. We have recently entered Virgo season. Not only that, we have entered into a Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and there is a really exciting day coming up this week called a Mercury cazimi. So we're going to be talking about influencers. Now, what do all of these things have to do with influencers? Communication. Mercury is and has to do with communication. It's the planet of communicating. It is communicating at its core, right? That's why when we enter into a Mercury retrograde, we feel as if communication has gone awry. I believe, and it's not even that I believe, I think it's more of like a fact, that the biggest part about being an influencer or a creator on social media is that you are communicating with your community and with the collective about whatever you want to communicate about. Later on this week, we are going to be experiencing what's called a Mercury cazimi. And the literal term for what's going on is that the Sun and Mercury are going to be in the same spot. But what this means, especially during a Mercury retrograde, is that it is a very, very lovely day to do all of the things that most astrologers and most people advise you not to do during a Mercury retrograde. We actually recently had a Venus cazimi early on in August. The difference in this case is, of course, Venus versus Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication. Venus is the planet of love. So we're in this state right now of retrograde, which please don't be scared of retrogrades. There's no reason to be. There's nothing bad about a retrograde. It is a time for a review. It's a moment to look back and review something in your life. And that has always been the way that I have looked at it. But one of the biggest things that most people advise not to do during a retrograde, just because you are in that review process, is they always say, cross your T's, dot your I's, don't sign any contracts, don't enter into something, don't commit to anything, because you're in this moment of looking back at where you want to fix something, where you want to update something. And it's not that you shouldn't necessarily do that, especially if you feel called to, if it feels right, but it's kind of one of those things like, don't make it an impulse decision, like doing a big chop on your hair or dyeing your hair a color you never have before, or signing a big contract that you're going to be locked in for a long time. That's just what I always say. And of course, if you listen to my previous episode, you may know a little bit more about your birth chart at this point and where the Mercury retrograde is going to be affecting you. Wherever you have Virgo in your chart, that is exactly where to look. But anyways, I bring up the Mercury cazimi not only because it's an exciting day that I want you to know about, because it is a very lovely day to actually do the opposite of what everyone advises you to do during a retrograde, a Mercury retrograde. It's a lovely day to communicate, to launch something, to sign a contract, to have a conversation, to announce something really exciting. And I love these days. Cazimis are my favorite. I love cazimis. I feel like there's so much zhuzh going on in the sky. There's so many things going on in the sky. There's so much great energy that comes from cazimis. So I'm going to use it to my advantage. So here's this information so that you can use it to your advantage as well. But I bring this up specifically Virgo season, specifically this retrograde and this Mercury cazimi, because communication. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the planet of communication. So Virgo, happy Virgo season. It's starting to become spooky season. I am so excited, so excited. If you can't see me, I will tell you that I'm sitting next to my bat pillow. I have a bunch of colorful bats on my pillow. I've got a pumpkin spice latte. I've got a lipstick that's literally called pumpkin spice latte, and I'm just feeling all of the fall vibes. It was such a beautiful day outside today. I went for a walk. It was that cool breeze. It was so nice. It was so nice. It was so nice. So Virgo season really kicks off fall for us on the northern hemisphere. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury, by the planet Mercury. This comes very full circle for me because I had a call the other day. And it's very interesting that I even took the call because normally I don't during retrogrades. I'm very conscious about it. I'm like, if I know this information, I might as well use it to my advantage. So calls like this, I don't usually take during retrogrades, and I don't make large decisions during retrogrades either. And this call calls for making a very big decision in regards to my career. But I took this call. It felt aligning, it felt genuine, and in this call, we had such a great conversation. And I loved one of the questions that they had asked me on the call. I actually prefaced this question by asking them a question of what self-love means to you. And their question back to me after we chatted for a bit was, how is social media and being an influencer a part of my self-love journey? Like, how is being an influencer self-love? And this question almost stumped me for like a quick second because no one has ever asked me about the correlation between being a creator and what that has to do with self-love before. It's more so like sharing self-love is my purpose, but how does that impact me as a person who is trying to love themselves more? And how does it also impact me in regards to my career? I have so many things came through from this one question. The biggest thing is that I'm sharing my self-love journey. That's what I'm doing as a creator. I'm sharing my self-love journey, what I've learned, what I need to learn, what I need to work on, the tools that have helped me, the things that have helped me. I'm sharing all of these things that have to do with my own self-love journey as a human being with you through social media. So that's like my media. That's like my platform. Throughout my platforms in recent years, I've decided to make the switch to really focus on sharing that growth of self-love. I have always come back to self-love content throughout my entire career. When I first started, when I was somewhere in the middle, recent years, of course, even more so, really coming into being a full self-love creator. But I realized even when my content wasn't focused on self-love, or I wasn't literally saying or coining the terms, the context of my content always came back to self-love. It always came back to loving yourself, being self-aware, knowing your self-worth. I mean, at the root of beauty and creating makeup and beauty content, it was to have fun, to enjoy creating something, but most importantly, it was to help yourself feel beautiful. Interestingly enough, I actually don't even use the word influencer. I'm not a fan of the term. I'm not a fan of the connotation of the term and how it's just been defined. I mean, we could look at the way that movies and TV shows portray influencers, and it's so disappointing to see because in most of those movies and TV shows, influencers are stupid, always on their phone, constantly taking pictures of themselves, and seem to not have a life outside of creating content. And I think that that is so far from the truth for most influencers. Even when I'm in conversations and people ask me what I do for a living or about my job or anything like that, there's of course always assumptions that are being made. There are faces when I'm like, yeah, I'm an influencer. So I really cut back on using the term influencer, especially and specifically to describe myself or any of the creators that I know, because I don't feel as though they represent how the word influencer has grown to be defined as. So instead of calling myself an influencer, I refer to myself as a creator or a creative or a content creator. It provides less of this societal or like TV personality with all of the negative characteristics, and it really provides more of like, no, this is actual work, and it's very difficult to be a creator and a creative. I'm constantly creating things and constantly doing everything. Like, I'm the one behind the camera, I'm the one in front of the camera, I'm the one editing, I'm the one behind the scenes, but I'm also the one in front of the scenes. There's so much that goes into being an influencer and being a creator. And it's unfortunate that I have to be, or feel that I need to be conscious of my use of the word influencer. But I've been an influencer for over 11 years, going on 12 years at this point. And self-love has always been something that my content's context goes back to. Even if I'm not literally talking about it, or I'm not coining the term self-love in the content, it's always circling back to mean love yourself more. Even through beauty and makeup, I'm reminding you that you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are enough. It's essentially telling you to love yourself more, reminding you to love yourself more, to push for self-love. So my life for so many years has been very, very heavily intertwined with social media. And I think that intertwining your life, whether it's in a small scale where maybe you are just sharing makeup tutorials, or it's in a larger scale where you are sharing deeper parts of your life, whether that's, in a lifestyle type of way, a vlog, or if you're honestly sharing truly any piece of content. I really believe that being a creator is very, very difficult, and difficult in the sense where it's emotionally and mentally taxing. To put your life out there for the entire world to see, and for the entire world to either put you on a pedestal or feel as though they are allowed to judge you, is a scary fucking thing. And you don't even have to be an influencer for that to happen. You could be just anyone. One of my friends recently, she uses social media to connect with her family and her friends who live across the country, all over the world. And about a month or so ago, she shared a video of a very, very happy moment happening for her family. Although most of the response was very positive because the video in nature was very positive, there were still negative comments within that. And I've seen that happen on so many different occasions to so many different people, whether they're an influencer or not, and whether or not they have good intentions. And even if they have good intentions, sharing or putting out that content into the world, in this case, just to share with family and friends. So intertwining your life with social media, in my case, intertwining my life a little bit more than I would say the average creator does on social media. I'm not going to say that the occasional negative or mean comment doesn't get to me, because it does. Especially when I was starting out and maybe not so confident in being a creator, it definitely got to me. And I think it would get to anybody if you're starting something new and you're not so confident in what you're doing yet and you don't have much experience. Those mean or negative comments are going to get to you just a little bit more in those moments because you're in a vulnerable place. You're starting something new. But especially as I've grown as an influencer, they don't really bother me as much anymore. What really bothers me, actually, are comments from people that know me. Because to some extent, these are people that I also care about. So a part of me is upset when they perceive anything that I'm doing in a negative way. I've had this happen one too many times, and it's interesting because I can only remember a handful of negative or mean comments on my posts from people I don't know. And I think I've grown to block that out as an influencer because I'm like, this person doesn't even know me. They don't even know where I'm coming from. They know nothing about my life, because social media really is such a small part of someone's life. For me, starting to share more about self-love, that does open up the amount of depth that I share with the world, just honestly into a whole new level. Because I'm not just sitting down putting makeup on my face anymore. I'm talking about like real life things. I'm bringing you into my life. So the comments from cyber bullies or people saying like just not so nice things to me really are not the ones that bother me. It's the ones that come from the people that actually know me. So those are the ones that have sat with me for a while. I had a family member say some really unkind things about my body because I was wearing a bikini in a video and how I shouldn't be showing those parts of me. I had that same family member comment back to someone who was cyberbullying me and kind of join in on the conversation. I have even had my parents confront me about things I've said on social media, or friends, past relationships. Being a public figure on social media allows for the entire world to feel as though they are entitled to comment on the things that you have shared, and even so, bring them into the relationship that you have with them. As part of my self-love journey and as part of my growth, I've really always just wanted to be understood. And by going onto social media, I think internally and subconsciously, my hope was that I could find those people that would also understand me. Now, in my own growth as a human being and learning to love myself more, I've come to this place of understanding and knowing that I don't need to be understood by anyone but myself. But it's always that internal part of me that craves this understanding from others, but most especially the people that I care about. And I never expect, and I do know that the entire world, even the people that know me, that are closest to me, I never expect at this point everyone and anyone to understand me and what I have to say or my purpose or why I share content on social media as a creator. Like, there are going to be people that don't get it, and that's okay. Those are not my people. There are people that are going to listen to this podcast episode and they're not going to get it, and that's okay. It's the people that are going to listen. It's the people that are going to understand. It's the people that are going to relate that are most important. I know this now, right? But all of my life, all I've ever wanted was just to be understood. So when someone doesn't understand, especially the people I care about, it hurts. And even in my growth as a woman, like, I still feel this way sometimes. And I catch myself. I'm like, it's okay if they don't understand. And I'm hoping you know that too. It's okay if they don't understand. There are people that will understand. There are people that have felt the same way as you. There are people that can connect with your experience and can connect with your feelings. There are people that align. So this understanding or want and need to be understood is a huge part of my self-love journey because it goes way back to me as a kid. Being told that I should be seen, not heard. My emotions were too big. I was always the last one to be chosen or the third person in a friend group. I'm always the one that's walking a few steps behind. I always found that I was just different. I liked different things. I saw things in a different light, in a different way. And now as an adult, I'm so self-aware of myself, my traumas, my shortcomings, my flaws. I'm so self-aware of all of these things, even how my parents or society or my experiences have affected that. I am the true definition of a black sheep. And sometimes that's very scary when saying that and being an influencer and sharing your experience with the world, because it puts you in a really tough place because not everybody's gonna like what you have to say. It's like the more and more I go against the grain or become more self-aware of myself and others, the more I'm misunderstood. Especially as I share more content that is deeper, more emotional, more purposeful, and has so much more meaning to it. It's almost as if there's even more of a playing field for people to just completely rip me apart or misunderstand me. I'm not your average influencer that is sharing just highlight reels. And I think we're in a place now where influencers aren't just sharing highlight reels anymore. They're letting you into their lives. And that's a really scary thing. I've actually never talked about this story before, mainly because it is such a, it's almost like a rabbit hole to go down in a sense. It's been 15 years. Oh, I just got the chills. It's been 15 years since this has happened. Every influencer gets asked, or creator gets asked, well, how did you start? What happened? How did you get into social media? And my answer is very similar to what everyone else's is. Like, I don't know, I just started. I just jumped onto YouTube and Instagram and all of these social media platforms, and I just started posting. And if they ask the question, well, why makeup? And I was like, I don't know, like, I love makeup. Makeup's fun, it's creative, it's exciting. And I posted so many things about Halloween makeup, and that's how I really started gaining notoriety as an influencer. And Halloween makeup's fucking fun. It's exciting, it's creative. But the real answer to that question of how I became a creator, a content creator, and influencer, I don't believe I've ever honestly answered that question. And I don't think that it's because I ever lied to anybody. I think that I just didn't know. Because is it true that I just started one day? Yeah. I got onto YouTube and I started posting, and it kind of just went from there. And I realized that it really meant something to me when I was maybe like barely a year into this makeup influencer journey of mine, and my ex-boyfriend at the time was angry at me and somehow got into my YouTube channel and deleted all of my videos. And in that moment, I felt like I lost something so important to me. I remember re-uploading the 10 or 15 videos that he had deleted to my YouTube channel. And in that moment was when I really realized that this was something that I really enjoyed doing, and that it was something that I wanted to continue. Now, if someone were to do that to me now, I would sue their ass. Just saying. I've got about like 500, 600 videos on my YouTube channel. But even more so, it took me a couple of years to realize that the subconscious reason as to why I started posting on social media was to be understood. Do you remember MySpace days? We were literally coding our own websites basically back then, adding in music, having our little best friends list. Essentially like the beginning of social media was MySpace. I had met someone separate from the person who had deleted my YouTube videos on MySpace who I got into a relationship with, and this person manipulated me so good. So good. I mean, I'm a 14-year-old girl who just wants to be understood, just wants to be loved, just wants to be cared for. So it was so easy for this person to do that because I was so vulnerable. For about 2 years, I spent, oh my God. I'm realizing in this moment, I have not talked about this in a really long time, like outwardly. Obviously, I know it's happened and I have spoken about it, but I haven't, I think, said it out loud. Oh goodness. Those 2 years were some of the worst years of my life. Those 2 years would completely set the tone for the next 10 years of my life. I was told what to wear, what to listen to, how to act, how to style my hair. My personality was shifted and created by this other person. I didn't have a voice. I wasn't able to communicate my feelings because there was no one to listen. And for all of that time, I felt this pit in my stomach. The whole time I felt this pit in my stomach. I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't right. This isn't right. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. And I never listened to my intuition. But how could I even know what that was when I'm a teenager? And on top of that, just a teenager that wants to be loved. There's really something scary about someone who can manipulate you. They put you in this place of making you think that no one else cares about you except for them. And when you get into that place, you surround yourself with no one but them. Your circle is no one but them. So when they're treating you badly, extreme highs and extremely, extremely low lows with this person, you don't know any different because there is no one else. I was made to feel ugly and stupid and not capable, not enough my sophomore year of high school. I remember I had curled my hair with a new curling iron. I took a picture and the response was, who are you looking pretty for? Why do you need to do your hair? Why do you need to put makeup on? Who is at school that you're hanging out with that you need to look pretty for? When I came to this place of finally listening to my intuition, the damage had already been done and I just wanted to enjoy life. And I'm so grateful for that day that I decided to listen. That day, one of my old best friends had reached out to me and we had gone to the movies. And I'm not sure as to why I ended up going. But that day, I was so grateful that that interaction had happened with her and that I said yes. I remember standing in the parking lot, letting this person know that I was done. The last 2 years of high school for me, I wore whatever the fuck I wanted. I put on makeup every single day. Although I was sprinting across the house to catch the bus every single day, I was wearing heels. One day I was dressed in a colorful flannel, jeans and Timberland shoes, and then another day I was dressed in like a mini skirt and a cute little booby top and heels, and then another day I was dressed in a Juicy Couture sweatsuit. Like, I made sure that I showed up every single day looking and feeling my best. My senior year of high school is when I decided to go onto YouTube. And I believe that it was an outlet for me to find people who understood me, to finally learn who I was as a person. Because during the most critical years of my life, I allowed someone else to tell me who I was. So I went on social media and I created myself into whoever I wanted to be. And now I believe that I'm here to show you that you can do the same. That you don't need to be understood, but that there is someone, that there are people out there that are going to understand you and your experiences and what you enjoy and what you like and who you are. But I'm here to remind you that if you don't have those people in your life now, or you're still looking for those people in your life, I want to show you how to love yourself more so that you can be able to remind yourself that you deserve to have people around you that understand you, that love you and that care about you, and that want you to be fully and irrevocably yourself. People that don't want to change you, people that love you exactly for who you are. Most importantly, though, I want you to love you for exactly who you are. Think about a time when you were a teenager, and maybe a difficult time when you were a teenager, whether it was a difficult day, a difficult chapter. And I want you to ask yourself what you would say to your younger self. I know what I would tell my younger self. I would tell her, it's okay to be misunderstood. You feel so incredibly deep. You are so incredibly empathetic. And I know that you want love and understanding, and I know you want to be cared for, but I need you to give that to yourself in this moment. People that love you and care about you don't call you names. They don't try to change who you are. They don't try to tell you how to act, how to be, or who to be. People who truly love you for you. I wish that I could hug 14, 15, 16-year-old me, because I truly think that that's all she really needed. But that story, that is why I became an influencer. It's not to strive to have millions and millions of followers. It's not to gain attention. It's to connect with people. It's to share my story and share your story. It's to show you how to love yourself more. Because I do believe that if I did, in so many moments in my life, my story would be written differently. But I am so grateful for the past 15 years because it led me to where I am today. It led me to you. So next time someone asks me why I became a creator or what being a creator has to do with self-love, I might tell them that story. Whatever I tell them, I'm going to remember 14-year-old me who truly just wanted to be loved and understood. I'm going to remember a little girl that deserved all of the love in the world and is finally giving it to herself now. Thank you so much for being here and listening to podcast episode number 4, Influencer. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and if you did, I would love it if you left a rating on whatever platform you're listening on, or at the very least, come say hi on any of my social platforms. Let's hang out, let's get to know each other, let me show you how to love yourself more. I will see you guys next week, same time, Sundays at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. I love you a ton. Bye.